One hadith every day.
Let's learn a hadith.
Abul Yaman Hakam ibn Nafi, rahmatullah, narrates from Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that Abu Sufyan ibn Harb told him that King Hercules once sent people to him. He was in Syria on business in the Quraysh caravan. At that time Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was engaged with Abu Sufyan and Quraysh for a certain period of time. Abu Sufyan came to Hercules with his companions and Hercules was then staying in Jerusalem. Hercules called them to him. By his side, the leading people of Rome were present. Then he called them and called the interpreter. Then he asked, "This person who claims to be a prophet, who among you is closest to him in terms of lineage?" Abu Sufyan said, I am his close relative by descent." He said, "Bring him very close to me and bring his companions also and make them sit behind." Then he said to his interpreter, "Tell them, I will ask him something about that person. If he tells me a lie, you will immediately expose him as a liar." Abu Sufyan said, "By God! If I had not the shame that they would proclaim me a liar, I would certainly have lied about him." Then the first question he asked me about him was, "What is his lineage among you?" I said, "He is of the most noble lineage among us." He said, "Have any of you ever said this before?" I said no. He said, "Were any of his fathers and grandfathers kings?" I said no. He said, "Are they increasing in number or decreasing?" I said, "They are growing." He said, "After accepting his religion, does anyone leave it because of displeasure?" I said no. He said, "Did you ever accuse him of lying before the claim of prophethood?" I said no. He said, "Does he break the contract?" I said, "No. But we are bound by a fixed time covenant with him. I don't know what he will do in the meantime." Abu Sufyan said, "I did not get any opportunity to add anything other than this." He said, "Have you ever fought with him?" I said, "Yes." He said, "How was your war with him?" I said, "The result of the war between him and us is like a well bucket. Sometimes it goes for him, and sometimes it comes for us." He said, "What does he command you?" And he enjoins us to pray, to speak the truth, to be chaste, and to be kind to our relatives. Then he said to the interpreter, "Tell him, I have asked you about his lineage. You mentioned in his reply that he is of a noble family among you. Indeed, the messengers are sent to the upper clans of their people. I asked you, has anyone else said this before? You said no. So I am saying that if someone had said this earlier, would have definitely said that this is a person who is following the words of his predecessor. I asked you, was there any king among his ancestors? You replied, no. So I say that if there was a king among his ancestors, then I would say that he is a person who wants to get back the kingship of his father and grandfather. I asked you, have you ever accused him of lying before? You said no. From this I understood that it cannot be that someone will give up lying about people while speaking falsely about Allah. I asked you, do noble people follow him, or common people? You said, common people follow him. And in reality these are the followers of the messengers. I asked you, are they increasing or decreasing in number? You said increasing. In fact, this is the case until one attains perfection in faith. I asked you, does anyone leave the religion after they have entered it in displeasure? You said no. Faith is like this when the softness of faith is mixed with the heart. I asked you whether he broke the contract or not. You said no. Verily, the messengers do not break covenants. I asked you what he commanded you. You said, he commanded you to worship one God and not associate anything with him. He forbids you to worship idols and commands you to pray, to speak the truth and to be free from impurity. If what you say is true, then soon he will own the space under my feet. I knew for sure that he would appear, but I did not think that he would be from among you. Had I known I could reach him, I would have taken any pains to meet him. And if I had been near him, I would have washed his feet. Then he asked to bring the letter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which he had sent to the ruler of Basra through Dihayat al-Kalbi. He read it. It was written, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Peace be upon Hercules, the Emperor of Rome, on behalf of the servant of God and his messenger Muhammad, who follows the guidance. Then I invite you to Islam. Accept Islam, be safe. Allah will give you a double reward. And if you turn away, the sins of all the people will fall on you. O people of the book! Come to that word, which is the same between us and you, may we worship none but Allah, associate nothing with him, and none of us take anyone as a lord other than Allah. If they turn away, then say, be witness that we are Muslims. Abu Sufyan said, when Hercules finished his speech and read the letter, there was a tumult, shouting and uproar, and we were turned out. When we got out, I said to my companions, Abu Kabsha's son's cause has become strong, even the king of Banu Asfar, Rome, is afraid of him. Since then I started to believe that he will win soon. Finally, Allah Ta'ala granted me tawfiq to accept Islam. Ibn Natur was the ruler of Jerusalem and a friend of Hercules and a clergyman of the Syrian Christians. He said, when Hercules came to Jerusalem, one day he looked upset. A prominent companion of his said, we see your face fading today. Ibn Natur said, Hercules was an astrologer, skilled in astronomy. When they asked, he said to them, tonight I looked at the stars and saw that the king of the circumcised has appeared. Which nation circumcises in the present age? They said, no one except the Jews does circumcision. But don't worry about them. Write to the cities of your kingdom, that they kill all the Jews there. While they were engaged in this matter, a man was presented to Hercules, sent by the governor of Ghassan. He was giving news about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Hercules heard the news from him and said, take him and see if he has been circumcised or not. They brought him and told him that he had been circumcised. Hercules asked him about the Arabs. He replied, they circumcise. Then Hercules said to them, this, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is the king of this ummah. He appeared. Then Hercules wrote to his friend in Rome. He was his equal in knowledge. Later Hercules left Himes. While he was at Himsa, he received a letter from his friend, which supported Hercules' view of the appearance of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and that he was a true prophet. Then Hercules summoned the leading men of Rome to his palace at Himes and ordered all the doors of the palace to be closed. The door was closed. Then he came forward and said, O Romans! Do you want welfare, guidance and stability of your state? Then accept the rayat of this prophet. Hearing this, they rushed towards the door, panting like wild donkeys, but they found it closed. When Hercules noticed their reluctance and despaired of their faith, he said, bring them back to me. He said, I only tested how steadfast you are on your religion with what I said a little while ago. Now I see it. Hearing this, they bowed down to him and were pleased with him. This was the last state of Hercules. Sahih Bukhari.